Inside this small town hall, Jaroslaw Kaczynski, the leader of Poland's ruling Peace Party, is holding a rally. But there's a troublemaker at the gate.
I want Kaczynski to say why he's sold Poland out to the big chains. The police tried to stop me coming into town. They stopped one of our cars, the one I'd been filmed and photographed getting into. But unluckily for them, I had switched cars along the way.
He made it to the gate, but no further. A crowd of his supporters gathers, among them Konrad Frysztak, a local opposition MP.
I want to ask Chairman Kaczynski,
He's interrupted by Kaczynski supporters.
The peace guys tell us to go to Berlin one day, to Moscow, to Putin the next. They should make up their minds. But you better ask them, or Kaczynski.
Czy może pan wyjaśnić, dlaczego krzyczyliście do Berlina? The idea that liberals take orders from Germany is a recurring theme of the state broadcaster TVP, controlled by peace.
were you hoping to provoke me? It didn't work out.
The firebrand candidate keeps calm. So that evening, TVP shows archive footage of his allegedly bad behavior in the past. It mainly focuses, though, on Kaczynski's message and on criticizing Donald Tusk, the opposition leader. Frysztak says this is unfair campaigning.
They've mobilized the whole apparatus of the state, especially the state media, to slander the opposition and Donald Tusk. On election day itself, though, we're confident things will be done fairly, because together with the other democratic parties, we will have some 70,000 volunteer observers at the polling stations.
Waldemar Bukalski heads one of the NGOs providing observers. They openly cooperate with opposition parties because they say peace is a threat to democracy.
Peace has violated the constitution multiple times. It's because of rule of law violations in Poland that the European Union has blocked the flow of funds that finance places like this community centre.
In another building, restored thanks to EU funds, Bukalski is hosting a talk by an election observation specialist from Warsaw, who says that while there may be more observers, there will also be many more polling stations in rural areas.
That's a political move because it's there that the ruling party has most support. And when you have lots of polling stations with 100 voters or less at each, all sorts of things can happen.
Skubiszewski accuses PiS of various tricks in this election, including holding a referendum on the same day on questions dear to its core electorate, something he tried and failed to block.
I lost that court case, but the reason you didn't see any headlines about a scandalous ruling by politicised judges is because there are legal loopholes. Every imperfection in our democracy is a crack that can create an opening for dictatorship.
He says he doesn't use that word lightly and compares Poland today to Russia 10 years ago.
When you look at what Putin did, the suppression of independent media was done very slowly and progressively. The same thing is happening in Poland, and now it will either go one way or the other. That is, either we're heading for a dictatorship, but we're just 10 years behind Putin, or there'll be a return to democracy.
The volunteers picking up observer permits share his fears.
There's a huge threat. We've seen how over the past 8 years, despite huge protests, for example, for women's rights, peace just does whatever it wants.
People are afraid that with these elections, which are exceptionally important, there may be fraud. So definitely more people are getting involved in election observation.
The fateful importance of these elections seems to be the one thing that both the ruling party and the opposition agree on. On a visit to Radom's shiny new airport, the city's leading peace politician also accuses Tusk of serving German interests.
What's at stake in these elections is not just what Poland will be like, but who will Poland belong to? And will Poland even exist as a separate sovereign entity? Or will it just be a place on the map called Poland, as the Germans call it?
Suski is here to celebrate the state-run airport's announcement of its first low-cost flights, a few days before the election. He says Radom was punished with years of underinvestment after anti-communist protests here in 1976, and this huge facility is a kind of revenge.
We wanted somehow to honour those heroes. Radom deserves an economic heart, an engine of development.
Both PiS and the opposition present themselves as the true heirs of those anti-communist heroes.
Those who remembered those years were the first to mobilize against PiS because they understood what a danger one-party rule is. And that's where PiS is headed. If they finish taking over the courts, we will have nowhere to turn.
On Tuesday, Konrad Frysztak went to this court to file a complaint against PiS politicians for slander.
PiS has not yet completed its judicial reforms, so we can still hope for a normal hearing and legal decisions made by legally appointed officials.
If it wins, though, PiS has vowed to finally finish off those court reforms, no matter that the EU has ruled them illegal.